The lecture hall was massive. It could hold 300 cadets easily, and today it was completely full. Students from 17 different planets sat in their seats waiting for class to begin. Some had scales, some had fur, and some had skin that changed colors. They all wore the same gray uniform of the Galactic Military Academy. Hana Kim sat in the middle row. She was human, with dark hair tied back in a simple ponytail. Her uniform was neat and pressed. Next to her sat her roommate, Jiwoo Park, another human cadet. They had been at the academy for 6 months now. The doors at the front of the hall opened with a loud bang. Commander Thulmar walked in. He was Vraxian, which meant he was tall. Very tall. He stood almost 3 meters high with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. His eyes were black and large, and when he looked at the cadets, they all sat up straighter. "Today we discuss survival training," Commander Thulmar said. His voice was deep and loud. It filled the entire hall without any microphone. "Next month you will be sent to different planets. You will need to survive for 1 week with minimal supplies." The cadets whispered to each other. This was what they had been waiting for. Survival training was the most important part of their first year. Commander Thulmar pressed a button on his desk. A holographic display appeared in the air above him. It showed a rotating planet. The planet was blue and green with white clouds swirling around it. "This," the commander said, "is what we call a Class 12 Death World." The hall went quiet. Death World was a term everyone knew. It meant a planet so dangerous that most species could not survive there. A Class 12 was the highest rating, the most dangerous possible. "This planet has killed more exploration teams than any other world in the known galaxy," Commander Thulmar continued. He walked back and forth as he spoke, his forearms moving to emphasize his points. "The gravity is crushing. It is 0.98 standard, which would break the bones of most species here." Several cadets looked nervous. Hana glanced at Jiwoo, who was trying not to smile. "The atmosphere," the commander went on, "contains oxygen at 21%. This is a highly reactive element. It causes oxidation, rust, decay. Breathing it for too long damages tissue. And yet the creatures on this planet breathe it constantly." A cadet from Velusian Prime, a small gray being named Crix, raised a tentacle. "Commander, how do they survive?" "They adapt," Thulmar said darkly. "Everything on this planet adapts or dies. The planet itself seems designed to kill. It has weather systems that can change in minutes. Massive storms that destroy everything in their path. Earthquakes that split the ground open. Volcanoes that bury entire regions in burning rock." The hologram changed. Now it showed images of Earth's surface, mountains, oceans, forests, deserts. "The temperature varies wildly," the commander said, "from -40 degrees to +50 degrees Celsius. Sometimes in the same location, just at different times of year. The planet tilts on its axis, creating what they call seasons. This means constant environmental change. Nothing is stable." More images appeared. A lion chasing prey. A bear standing on its back legs. A great white shark with its mouth open, showing rows of teeth. "The predators," Commander Thulmar's voice dropped lower, "are perhaps the most terrifying aspect. This planet has apex predators in every environment. In the water, on land, in the air. Some have venom that can kill in minutes. Some have teeth that can bite through metal. Some hunt in packs with coordinated strategy." A cadet from Therion 4 made a clicking sound of distress. "And the microorganisms," the commander continued. "This planet has billions of different bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites. They are everywhere. In the water, in the air, in the soil. Many are deadly. They cause diseases that have wiped out entire populations of the planet's dominant species." "What species is that, Commander?" another cadet asked. "They call themselves humans," Thulmar said. "They are the ones who survived everything this death world threw at them. They evolved in these conditions. They had to develop immune systems capable of fighting off countless diseases. They had to develop bones and muscles strong enough to handle the gravity. They had to develop brains capable of strategy to defeat predators stronger and faster than themselves." The hologram now showed a human. It looked small and weak compared to most species in the room. "Humans learned to make tools because they had no natural weapons," the commander explained. "They learned to make fire to stay warm and cook food. They learned to build shelters to protect themselves from the weather. They learned to work together because alone they would die." Hana felt a strange sense of pride hearing this. She had never thought of Earth as particularly dangerous. It was just home. "The point of showing you this," Commander Thulmar said, "is to demonstrate the most extreme example of a death world. You will not be sent to any planet this dangerous. In fact, it is Academy policy that no cadet be sent to a Class 12 death world. It would be suicide. He looked around the room, making eye contact with various students. No cadet could survive Earth, he said firmly, not without years of specialized training and advanced equipment. Even then, the survival rate would be low. This planet is simply too hostile for sentient life to visit safely. That was when Hana raised her hand. The movement was small, but Commander Thulmar saw it. His large black eyes focused on her. Yes, Cadet, he said. Hana stood up. Academy protocol required standing when addressing an instructor. She looked calm, her face showing a slight smile. Commander Thulmar, she said clearly. You said no cadet could survive Earth. That is correct, the commander replied. Then how am I here? Hana asked. The silence that followed was complete. 300 cadets stopped moving. Some stopped breathing. All eyes turned to look at Hana. Commander Thulmar's expression did not change, but he stood very still. Explain yourself, Cadet. I am from Earth, Hana said simply. I was born there. I lived there for 18 years before coming to the Academy. If Earth is so deadly that no cadet could survive it, how did I survive? Next to her, Jiwoo was grinning openly now. Several other human cadets scattered throughout the hall were also smiling. Commander Thulmar processed this information. You are from a colony world? He asked. No, sir, Hana replied. I am from Earth itself, from a city called Seoul. My family still lives there. So do 8 billion other humans. The commander's 4 arms crossed over his chest. That is impossible. You mean to tell me that billions of your species live on that death world, without environmental suits or protective habitats? Yes, sir, Hana said. We live in normal houses. We walk outside every day. We swim in the oceans you call deadly. We hike in the mountains you said would kill us. We have pets that are related to those predators you showed us. A Volusian cadet fainted and slid off his chair. Commander Thulmar stared at Hana for a long moment. Then he looked at his holographic display. Then back at Hana. Class dismissed, he said quietly. Cadet Kim, you will report to my office immediately. We need to discuss this further. As the other cadets filed out, talking excitedly among themselves, Hana gathered her things. Jiwoo patted her on the shoulder. You broke his entire worldview, Jiwoo whispered. I just told the truth, Hana said, but as she walked toward the commander's office, she wondered what would happen next. She had a feeling that things at the Academy were about to change. Commander Thulmar did not believe Hana at first. He spent 3 hours checking records, reading files, and contacting the Academy's administration office. Every document confirmed the same thing. Hana Kim was from Earth. So was Jiwoo Park. So were 15 other human cadets currently attending the Academy. The commander sat in his office, all 4 arms resting on his desk. He looked at Hana, who sat across from him with patient calm. This changes everything, he said finally. Does it, sir? Hana asked. I have been teaching survival training for 20 years, Thulmar said. I have always used Earth as the ultimate example of a planet that cannot be conquered. And now you tell me your species lives there. Comfortably. We have our challenges, Hana admitted. But yes, we live there. We have cities, farms, schools. We have had civilization for thousands of years. Commander Thulmar was quiet for a moment. Then he leaned forward. I want to test this, he said. Test what, sir? Your claims about Earth survival, the commander explained. We have environmental simulators. They can recreate any planet's conditions. If you truly came from Earth, you should be able to survive Earth conditions better than any other cadet here. Hana thought about this. You want me to prove I can survive my own home planet? Yes, Thulmar said. Tomorrow, in front of the entire Academy. Will you do this? Hana smiled. Of course, sir. It would be my honor. The next day, the Academy's main training arena was packed. Word had spread quickly. The human who claimed to come from a Class 12 death world was going to prove it. Every cadet wanted to watch. Even some instructors came to see. The arena floor was empty except for a large transparent chamber in the center. This was the environmental simulator. It could recreate any conditions programmers wanted. Temperature, gravity, atmosphere, everything. Commander Thulmar stood beside the chamber with a control pad in one of his hands. Hana stood next to him, wearing her standard training uniform. Nothing special. No protective gear. Cadets, the commander's voice boomed across the arena. Today we will conduct an experiment. Cadet Hana Kim claims to be from Earth. I will now set this simulator to Earth conditions. She will enter and demonstrate her ability to survive. He pressed buttons on the control pad. Numbers appeared on displays around the chamber. Gravity 0.98 standard, he announced. Atmosphere 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. Temperature 25 degrees Celsius. Humidity 60%. The chamber hummed as it adjusted its internal environment. When the display turned green, the door opened. Cadet Kim, please enter, Commander Thulmar said. Hana walked into the chamber. The door closed behind her. She stood in the center and waited. Nothing happened. She looked comfortable. She breathed normally. She smiled and waved at the watching cadets. The gravity is not affecting her, someone whispered. She is breathing the oxygen without any trouble, another voice said. Commander. Thulmar frowned. He adjusted the controls, increasing temperature to 40 degrees Celsius. Inside the chamber, Hana felt the air get warmer. She took off her uniform jacket and stood in just her shirt. She was sweating a little, but she still looked fine. This is summer weather where I am from, she called out. Her voice came through speakers outside the chamber. Thulmar pressed more buttons, decreasing temperature to 5 degrees Celsius. The chamber grew cold. Frost formed on the inside of the glass. Hana put her jacket back on and crossed her arms to stay warm. But she did not collapse. She did not ask to leave. This is like winter, she said, her breath visible in the cold air. Not even a bad winter. Just a normal cold day. The commander was running out of ideas. He typed rapidly on his control pad. Introducing Earth bacteria, he announced. The air in the chamber changed slightly as microscopic organisms were released into it. These were common Earth bacteria, the kind found in soil and water. For most species, they would cause immediate illness. Hana breathed in. She waited. After 2 minutes, she shrugged. I feel fine, sir. My immune system handles these every day. Crix, the Velusian cadet, was watching from the front row. This is impossible, he whispered to the student next to him. Those bacteria should be attacking her cells. Maybe her species is just built differently, the other student replied. Commander Thulmar was determined now. He pressed another button. Part of the chamber's floor opened up. A holographic projection appeared. It was large, covered in brown fur, with massive claws and teeth. It was a bear. The cadets in the arena gasped. Several moved back from the edge, even though the hologram could not leave the chamber. The bear hologram moved toward Hana. It stood on its back legs and roared. Hana did not run. She did not scream. She stood still and looked up at the bear calmly. If this were real, she called out, I would be making myself look bigger. I would be making loud noises. I would not run, because running triggers chase instinct. Bears are more scared of humans than we are of them most of the time. The bear hologram swiped at her with a paw. It passed through her harmlessly, since it was just light and programming. If this were a real bear and it attacked, Hana continued, I would fight back if it was a black bear. If it was a grizzly bear, I would play dead. If it was a polar bear, I would try to survive long enough for help to arrive because polar bears are the only bears that actively hunt humans. Commander Thulmar stared at her. You have strategies for dealing with apex predators? Everyone on Earth does, sir, Hana said. We teach children what to do if they meet dangerous animals. It is basic safety knowledge. The commander dismissed the bear hologram. He tried other things. He introduced Earth viruses into the simulation. Hana's immune system fought them off. He increased the oxygen level slightly. Hana adjusted her breathing without even thinking about it. He created a simulated thunderstorm with lightning and heavy rain. Hana just stood there getting wet. Do you have an umbrella, sir? She asked. The rain is not dangerous, just annoying. By now, other human cadets in the audience were laughing. They understood what was happening. Commander Thulmar was throwing Earth conditions at Hana, and for her, these were just normal, everyday things. One of the human cadets stood up. His name was Doyen Choi. Commander, may I join her? He called out. Before Thulmar could answer, another human cadet stood. Mina Lee, a pilot in training. Me too, sir. Then another. Hyunwoo Kang from engineering. Then more. All 15 human cadets in the academy stood up. We are all from Earth, sir, Doyen said. We can all do what Cadet Kim is doing. Commander Thulmar looked at them. Then he looked at his control pad. All of you, enter, he said. The human cadets walked down to the arena floor and filed into the environmental simulator. 16 humans stood together in conditions that the commander had designed to be deadly. They looked like they were at a casual gathering. Jiwoo made a joke and several others laughed. Mina sat down on the floor and stretched. Hyunwoo asked if anyone had snacks. Temperature to -10 degrees Celsius, Commander Thulmar said, his voice showing frustration. The humans pulled their jackets tighter. Some of them hopped in place to stay warm, but none of them looked distressed. This is cold, but we have all experienced colder, Hana said. In winter in Seoul it sometimes gets to -15 or -20 degrees. And you go outside in that? Crix asked from the audience, his voice high with disbelief. Of course, Jiwoo answered. We wear coats and gloves. We drink hot coffee. Life continues, Commander Thulmar turned off the simulator. The chamber returned to normal station conditions. The door opened and the humans walked out. The arena was completely silent. Then slowly one cadet started clapping. Then another, then more. Soon the entire arena was filled with the sound of applause. The human cadets looked embarrassed but pleased. Commander Thulmar stood very still. He looked at Hana. I owe you an apology, Cadet Kim. I owe all of you an apology. I called your home planet a death world. I said no one could survive there. I was wrong. You were not completely wrong, sir, Hana said respectfully. Earth is dangerous. We lose people to weather, to animals, to diseases, but we adapt. We learn, we survive. That is what humans do. The commander nodded slowly. I need to revise my entire curriculum, he said quietly. Everything I thought I knew about survival training is based on avoiding planets like yours. But your species thrives there. He looked at all the human cadets. I have a question. If Earth is so dangerous, why do you stay? Why not colonize easier planets? Doyen smiled. Because it is home, sir. Yes, Earth is hard. Yes, it tries to kill us sometimes. But it is also beautiful. It has mountains and oceans and forests. It has the northern lights and cherry blossoms and summer rain. It has our families, our history, our culture. We do not want an easy planet, Mina added. We want our planet. Commander Thulmar understood then. These humans were not just survivors. They loved their deadly world. They had been shaped by it, and they would not trade it for anything safer. Class dismissed, he said. But Cadet Kim, I would like you to assist me with something. I am going to redesign the survival training program. I think the other cadets could learn much from studying how humans survived Earth. Hana bowed, a gesture from her culture. I would be honored, Commander. As the cadets filed out of the arena, the talk was all about humans and Earth. The human cadets found themselves. Then he did something that surprised everyone. He opened the chamber door wide. News of the demonstration spread beyond the academy within days. The story was too interesting to keep contained. A Class 12 death world that was actually inhabited by billions of people. A species that evolved in conditions most others considered unsurvivable. The Galactic Council wanted answers. Admiral Venthar arrived at the academy 1 week after Hana's demonstration. She was Kentaran, with silver skin and 3 eyes that could see into the ultraviolet spectrum. She was one of the highest-ranking military officers in the galaxy. When she walked through the academy halls, everyone stopped and saluted. She went directly to Commander Thulmar's office. Show me everything you have on these humans, she demanded. The commander had prepared. He had spent the week gathering every piece of information available about Earth and its inhabitants. He projected it all onto the holographic displays that now filled his office. Earth is located in the outer arm of the Milky Way galaxy, he began. It is the 3rd planet from its sun. The planet is 4.5 billion years old. Life began there approximately 3.8 billion years ago. Admiral Venthar studied the data. That is an incredibly long evolutionary period. Yes, Thulmar agreed. And the evolution was not gentle. Earth has experienced 5 major extinction events. Events that killed most life on the planet, but life always came back. It adapted and survived. He showed images of dinosaurs, of ice ages, of volcanic eruptions that covered continents. Humans appeared relatively recently, the commander continued, only about 300,000 years ago. But in that time they spread across the entire planet. They survived ice ages that would have frozen most species to death. They survived droughts, floods, plagues. What makes them so resilient? The admiral asked. Several factors, Thulmar explained. He pulled up biological data on human anatomy. First, their bodies are incredibly adaptable. They can survive in temperatures from -40 to positive 50 degrees Celsius. They can adjust to different altitudes from sea level to mountains 5,000 meters high. Their bodies physically change to handle these conditions. He showed scans of human muscle and bone structure. Their skeletal system is strong enough to support them in Earth's high gravity. Their muscles are efficient and capable of both strength and endurance. And their brain is perhaps their greatest advantage. More data appeared. Brain scans, neural pathways, cognitive tests. Human intelligence is remarkable, the commander said. They are tool users, problem solvers. They can plan ahead, think abstractly, and innovate constantly. When they face a problem they cannot solve with strength, they solve it with intelligence. Admiral Venthar was silent, processing all of this. I want to meet these human cadets, she said finally. The meeting was arranged for the next day. All 16 human cadets were called to the Academy's main conference room. They arrived in their dress uniforms, nervous about meeting such a high-ranking officer. Admiral Venthar sat at the head of a long table. Commander Thulmar stood beside her. The human cadets filed in and stood at attention. At ease, the Admiral said. Please sit, they sat. Hana was at the front with Jiwoo beside her. The others spread out along both sides of the table. I have read the reports about your demonstration, Admiral Venthar said, looking at each of them. I have studied the data on your planet. Now I want to hear from you directly. What is it like to grow up on Earth? The humans looked at each other. Finally, Hana spoke. It is all we have ever known, Admiral. To us, Earth is normal. We do not think of it as a death world. Describe a normal day, the Admiral prompted. Jiwoo answered this time. I grew up in Busan, a city by the ocean. I would wake up, eat breakfast, and go to school. After school, I would play soccer with my friends. In summer, we would swim in the sea. In winter, we would stay inside more and study. The ocean, Admiral Venthar said. I read that Earth's oceans contain dangerous predators and toxic salt levels. The salt does not hurt us, Jiwoo explained. Our bodies can handle it. And yes, there are sharks and other predators, but attacks are rare. We learn to swim safely. We learn which beaches are safe and which to avoid. Doyen spoke up. I grew up in the mountains, in a place called Gangwon-do. It was cold in winter with lots of snow. My family would go hiking and camping. We saw wild animals sometimes. Deer, wild boar, even bears occasionally. But we knew how to stay safe. You camped? The Admiral asked, surprised. Voluntarily. Several humans laughed. Mina explained, camping is a popular activity on Earth. We go into nature for fun. We sleep in tents, cook food over fires, and spend time away from cities. It is relaxing. Admiral Venthar tried to understand this concept. These beings went into dangerous wilderness by choice for entertainment. Tell me about your food, she said, changing the subject. Hyunwoo grinned. Our food is amazing. Every culture on Earth has different foods. In Korea, we eat rice, vegetables, meat, and fish. We have kimchi, which is fermented vegetables. We have soups and stews. We have barbecue. I read that many Earth foods contain toxins, the Admiral said carefully. Oh, you mean things like capsaicin? Mina asked. That is what makes peppers spicy. Yes, it is technically a poison. Plants evolved it to stop animals from eating them. But humans like the taste, so we eat it anyway. The Admiral's three eyes widened. You eat poison for pleasure? It is a very mild poison, Hana assured her. It causes a burning sensation but no real damage. Some of us like spicy food very much. My grandmother makes kimchi stew that is very spicy. It makes your mouth burn and your nose run, but it tastes wonderful. Another human cadet, a young woman named Yuna Shin, added, We also eat garlic and onions, which are toxic to some animals. We eat chocolate, which would kill some species. We drink coffee and tea, which contain stimulants. We even drink alcohol, which is literally a poison, in controlled amounts for social occasions. Your species consumes multiple different poisons regularly, Admiral Venthar said slowly. When you say it like that, it sounds bad, Jiwoo admitted. But these things are part of our culture. They are safe for us in normal amounts. The Admiral sat back in her chair. She looked at Commander Thulmar, who nodded slightly. He had already gone through this same shock when learning these details. Tell me about your medical capabilities, the Admiral said. Your healing. Yuna spoke again. She had been in the medical track at the Academy. Human bodies are good at healing. We can recover from broken bones, cuts, bruises. Our immune system fights off infections. We have white blood cells that attack harmful bacteria and viruses. We can even heal from major injuries if we get medical help. Show me, the Admiral said. Eunice stood and walked to the Admiral's side of the table. She rolled up her sleeve, showing a scar on her forearm. I fell and cut my arm on glass when I was 10 years old. It needed stitches, but it healed. Now there is just a scar. She rolled up her other sleeve, showing another mark. This is from a burn. I touched a hot stove by accident when I was cooking. It hurt very much and damaged the skin. But my body grew new skin. It healed in a few weeks. The Admiral examined the scars carefully. Your body regrew tissue? All the time, Eunice said. Humans are constantly healing small damages. Paper cuts, bruises, sore muscles. Our bodies fix these things automatically. A male cadet named Suho Nam raised his hand. Admiral, may I demonstrate something else? Go ahead, she said. Suho stood and moved to an open area of the conference room. Humans are persistence hunters, he explained. This means we evolved to chase prey over long distances. Our bodies are built for endurance. He started jogging in place. Then he increased his speed, running in a circle around the room. He kept running. 5 minutes passed, then 10. His breathing increased but stayed steady. Sweat appeared on his forehead. How long can you continue? The Admiral asked. Hours, Suho said, still running. If I pace myself and stay hydrated, I can run for hours. Humans have run marathons, which are races that are 42 kilometers long. Some humans have run even farther. Ultramarathons that are 100 kilometers or more. He stopped running and walked back to his seat, breathing hard but clearly fine. On Earth, he continued, before we had modern weapons, humans would hunt animals by chasing them. We would follow an animal for hours, sometimes days, until it collapsed from exhaustion. Then we would catch it. Most animals can run faster than humans in short bursts, but we can outlast almost anything. Admiral Venthar was beginning to understand. These humans were not just tough. They were built for survival in ways most species were not. They could endure. They could heal. They could adapt. They could think their way around problems. And they could keep going long after others would have given up. One more question, she said. Your planet has nearly killed your species multiple times. Extinction events, ice ages, plagues that killed millions. Why do you stay? Why not leave? The room was quiet for a moment. Then Hana spoke, her voice soft but clear. Because Earth made us who we are, she said. Yes, it is dangerous. Yes, it is hard. But it is also beautiful beyond words. It has sunrises that paint the sky in colors you cannot imagine. It has oceans so vast they feel infinite. It has forests where you can walk for days and see wonders at every turn. It has mountains that touch the clouds. She paused, Gum. The expedition ship entered Earth's orbit on a clear spring morning. Admiral Venthar stood on the bridge looking at the blue and green planet below. It looked peaceful from space. Beautiful, even. It was hard to believe this was the death world that had caused so much concern. Scanners confirmed the data, reported the ship's science officer. Gravity 0.98 standard. Oxygen at 21%, nitrogen at 78%, temperature readings varying from -30 to +40 degrees across different regions. And the population? The Admiral asked. Approximately 8 billion human life signs, the officer replied, concentrated in cities but spread across all continents. Admiral, they live everywhere on this planet, even in the coldest regions and the hottest deserts. Commander Thulmar stood beside the Admiral. He had brought 6 other instructors and 20 cadets, including all 16 humans. They would spend 2 weeks on Earth visiting different locations to understand human civilization. Hana, the Admiral called. Where should we land first? Hana came to the front of the bridge. She looked at Earth with obvious joy. She had not been home in almost a year. Seoul would be good, Admiral. It is a large city. Very modern. It will show you how humans live in urban environments, and it is my home, so I can guide you easily. Seoul it is, the Admiral decided. The landing caused some excitement on Earth. The Galactic government had contacted Earth's governments in advance, but most humans had never seen aliens before. News cameras were everywhere as the expedition ship landed in a designated area outside Seoul. The ship's doors opened. A ramp extended down to the ground. Admiral Venthar walked out first, followed by her delegation. They all wore environmental suits, advanced armor that protected them from Earth's atmosphere, gravity, and any potential biological threats. Hana walked out next, wearing normal clothes, jeans and a light jacket. No protective gear at all. The contrast was striking. A group of humans waited to welcome them. Government officials, scientists, and Hana's family. When Hana saw her mother and father, she ran to them and hugged them tightly. They spoke rapidly in Korean, smiling and laughing. Admiral Venthar watched this. Even through her environmental suit, she could see the love and warmth of the reunion. It reminded her that these tough survivors were also people with families and feelings. A human man in a formal suit approached. He spoke through a translator device. "Welcome to Earth, Admiral Venthar. I am Ambassador Lee. On behalf of the Republic of Korea and the entire planet, we are honored by your visit." "Thank you for having us," the Admiral replied. Her voice came through speakers in her suit. "Please," Ambassador Lee gestured, "let us show you our world." They traveled into Seoul in large vehicles. The aliens stayed in their environmental suits, watching the city through windows. Seoul was massive. Buildings reached high into the sky. Roads were filled with cars and buses. Sidewalks were crowded with people going about their daily lives. "How many humans live in this city?" Commander Thulmar asked. "About 10 million in the city proper," Hana answered. "About 25 million if you include the surrounding area." 25 million, the commander repeated. "Living in close proximity. How do you manage resources for so many?" "We have systems," Hana explained. "Water comes from treatment plants that clean river water. Electricity comes from power plants. Food comes from farms outside the city and is transported in. Waste is collected and processed. It is complex, but it works." They visited the city center first. The aliens walked down a busy shopping street, moving through crowds of humans. Many humans stopped to stare. Some took pictures with their phones. Children pointed and asked their parents questions. "They are not afraid of us," observed one of the Kentoran officers. "Should they be?" Jiwoo asked with a smile. They stopped at a traditional market. Stalls sold vegetables, fruits, fish, meat, and prepared foods. The aliens watched as humans bought and sold, talked and laughed, living their normal lives. "Is all this food safe for humans?" Admiral Venthar asked, looking at the variety. "Of course," Hana said. She picked up an apple from a stall, paid for it, and bit into it. "This is an apple. Sweet and healthy. My favorite fruit." The vendor, an elderly woman, smiled at Hana and said something in Korean. Hana laughed and replied, then translated for the Admiral. She said the apples are especially good this year because the weather was perfect for growing them. They moved on to a restaurant for lunch. It was a traditional Korean restaurant with low tables and floor seating. The aliens had to awkwardly arrange themselves to sit. Their environmental suits made it difficult. "Can you eat through your suits?" Doyen asked. "We have feeding tubes," one officer explained. "We can consume nutrition packs inside the suits." "That sounds terrible," Mina said. "You should try real food." "Your food contains compounds that would be dangerous to us," Admiral Venthar said. "Some foods, yes," Hana agreed. "But not all. We can find something safe for you if you want to try." The Admiral considered this. She looked at the humans eating their meal. Rice, vegetables, soup, grilled meat. They ate with metal chopsticks, talking and enjoying the food. It was clearly an important part of their culture. "Perhaps on a future visit," she said, "when we have had time to analyze which foods are safe." After lunch, they visited the Han River. It ran through the middle of Seoul, wide and peaceful. Parks lined both sides. Humans were everywhere. Some jogged, some rode bicycles, some sat on blankets having picnics. Children played in playgrounds while parents watched. "This is a recreational area?" Commander Thulmar asked. "Yes," Suho said. "People come here to relax, to exercise, to spend time with family and friends. The river is the heart of the city in many ways." They watched a group of people playing soccer on a grass field. The players ran hard, kicking the ball, competing but also laughing when someone made a mistake. "They are exerting themselves for fun," an alien cadet observed. "Why?" "Exercise feels good," Hyunwoo explained. "It makes our bodies strong and releases chemicals in our brains that make us happy. And sports are fun. The challenge, the competition, working together as a team. Humans enjoy these things." The next day, they traveled outside the city to more rural areas. They visited farms where food was grown. They saw rice paddies, vegetable fields, and orchards. Human farmers worked in the sun, planting and harvesting. "Do they not have machines for this work?" an alien asked. "We have machines," a farmer answered through the translator. "But some work is still done by hand. It is better for some crops, and many of us like farming. It connects us to the land." They visited the DMZ, the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea, a place where nature had reclaimed the land because humans stayed away. A ranger named Yunji Cho guided them through approved areas. This area has been largely untouched by humans for 70 years, Yunji explained. It has become a sanctuary for wildlife. We have deer, wild boar, birds, even leopards. They live here peacefully because we do not disturb them. But this is prime land, Admiral Venthar said. Why not use it for cities or farms? Because nature needs space too, Yunji said simply. We learned that we cannot take everything. We must share the planet with other species. We must preserve wild places, the Admiral was surprised. These humans had conquered their planet, but they chose to leave parts of it wild. They valued nature even though nature was dangerous to them. From there they flew to Jeju Island in the south. It was warmer there with volcanic mountains and ocean views. They visited the coast where a marine biologist named Taeyong Im worked. Taeyong took them to the beach. He wore a wetsuit and carried diving equipment. I study marine life, he explained. The ocean around Jeju is full of diverse species. Would you like to see? The aliens looked nervous. The ocean contains predators, one said. Yes, Taeyong agreed. But also beautiful creatures. Colorful fish, sea turtles, dolphins. The ocean is dangerous but also wonderful. Come, I will show you. He waded into the water and dove in. Through underwater cameras, the aliens watched him swim. He moved gracefully through the water, pointing out different fish and coral. He seemed completely comfortable in an environment that the aliens found terrifying. When he surfaced, he was smiling. The ocean is cold today, maybe 18 degrees, but refreshing. That afternoon, dark clouds rolled in. Thunder rumbled. Rain began to fall. The aliens hurried to find shelter, but Doyun and Hyunwoo ran outside instead. They started kicking a soccer ball back and forth in the rain, laughing as they got soaked. Are they insane? An alien officer asked. That is a dangerous weather event. It is just rain, Jiwoo said, also going outside. It is water falling from the sky. It does not hurt us. Many humans actually like rain. The aliens watched in amazement as several humans played in the storm. Children jumped in puddles. Adults walked casually with umbrellas. One woman sat on a bench reading a book under an awning, enjoying the sound of rain. They do not fear their own weather, Commander Thulmar observed. We respect it, Hana corrected. We know when weather is truly dangerous. Typhoons we take seriously. Lightning storms we stay inside. But regular rain? Rain is normal. Rain is life. It waters our crops and fills our rivers. We welcome it. The next several days took them to more locations. They visited temples in the mountains where Buddhist monks lived simple lives in harmony with nature. They visited high-tech laboratories in Seoul, where 3 months after the expedition returned from Earth, the Galactic Military Academy looked different. The changes started small, but they grew quickly. The survival training program had been completely redesigned. And at the center of it all were the human cadets. Hana stood in front of a classroom filled with 30 alien students. She wore an instructor's uniform now, with special markings that showed her new role. On the wall behind her was a projection of Earth. Welcome to Death World Adaptation and Resilience, she said. I am Instructor Kim. Over the next semester, I will teach you survival techniques that humans developed on Earth. These techniques can be applied to any difficult environment you might face. The alien cadets looked nervous. They had all heard stories about what happened in Commander Thulmar's demonstration. They knew humans were tough, but they also wanted to learn. Today we start with the most important lesson, Hana continued. Survival is not just about being strong. It is about being adaptable, being smart, being willing to keep trying even when things are hard. She clicked a control and the image changed. It showed early humans living in caves, wearing animal skins, making stone tools. Humans were not always advanced, Hana explained. Millions of years ago, our ancestors were weak compared to the predators around them. They had no claws, no sharp teeth, no armor. They should have gone extinct. But they did not. Do you know why? A Velusian cadet named Trix raised a tentacle. They made tools? Yes, Hana confirmed. They used their intelligence. They picked up rocks and used them as weapons. They sharpened sticks and used them as spears. They learned to make fire to keep warm and cook food. Every generation learned from the previous one and added something new. She showed more images. Humans building shelters, farming, creating civilizations. Humans survived because we adapted, Hana said. When the climate changed, we changed our behavior. When food was scarce, we found new food sources. When predators threatened us, we learned their patterns and avoided them or hunted them. We never gave up. We always found a way. The class continued for 2 hours. Hana taught them about reading weather patterns, finding water, building emergency shelters, and staying calm under pressure. The alien cadets took careful notes. In another part of the academy, Jiwoo was teaching a different class. This one was about human psychology and team dynamics. Humans are social creatures, Jiwoo explained to her students. We evolved to work in groups. This is one of our greatest strengths. When humans cooperate, we can accomplish things that would be impossible alone. She showed videos of human teams working together, firefighters rescuing people from burning buildings, medical teams performing complex surgeries, construction workers building massive structures. Notice how they communicate constantly, Jiwoo pointed out. They talk to each other. They coordinate. They trust each other to do their jobs. This trust is essential. Without it, the team falls apart. A Therian cadet asked, "But what if team members disagree?" "Disagreement is normal," Jiwoo said. "Humans disagree all the time, but we have learned to work through disagreements. We discuss, we compromise, we find solutions that work for everyone. This flexibility is important for survival." Across the training facility, Doyun was leading a physical fitness session. 20 cadets were attempting to run around a track. Most were struggling after just one lap. "The key is pacing," Doyun called out as he jogged easily beside them. "Do not sprint. Find a steady rhythm you can maintain. Focus on your breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Your body will adjust." Some cadets wanted to stop, but Doyun encouraged them. "You can do more than you think you can. Your body is stronger than your mind believes. Push a little further. Just one more minute. Now another minute, good." By the end of the session, several cadets had run farther than they ever had before. They were exhausted but proud. Doyun smiled at them. "That is what humans call perseverance," he said. "Continuing even when you are tired. This is how humans survived. We kept going." The new curriculum was not just about physical training. Mina taught a class on crisis decision-making. Hyunwoo taught engineering improvisation, showing how to fix broken equipment with limited resources. Suho taught tracking and navigation. Yuna taught field medicine. The other human cadets each found their specialty to teach. Together, they were sharing everything humans had learned from living on Earth. Commander Thulmar observed these classes regularly. He was amazed at how much the alien cadets were learning. They were becoming more confident, more capable, more resilient. The human teaching methods were working. One day he invited Hana to his office. "I want to thank you," he said. "When you raised your hand in my lecture hall 6 months ago, you changed everything. You showed me I was wrong about many things." "You were not completely wrong, Commander," Hana said respectfully. "Earth is dangerous." "You were right about that." "But I was wrong about what danger means," Thulmar replied. "I thought danger was something to avoid. You humans taught me that danger is something to face and overcome. That makes all the difference." He pulled up statistics on his display. Since we implemented the new curriculum, cadet performance has improved by 40%. Injuries during training are down. Morale is up. The cadets are better prepared for real missions than ever before. "That is good to hear," Hana said. "Admiral Venthar is recommending that all military academies across the galaxy adopt similar programs," the commander continued. "She wants human instructors sent to other facilities. She believes your species has valuable knowledge to share." Hana felt a mix of pride and responsibility. "We will help however we can." "There is something else," Thulmar said. "The Galactic Council has officially changed Earth's classification. It is no longer listed as a death world. It is now classified as a Class 1 inhabited world. This means Earth will receive full diplomatic recognition. Humans will be invited to join the galactic community as equals." Hana's eyes widened. This was huge news. "When will this happen?" "The official ceremony is in 2 weeks," Thulmar said. "You and the other human cadets are invited to attend. Your presence helped make this possible." The ceremony took place on the Council homeworld, a beautiful planet called Nexus Prime. It was centrally located and had been neutral ground for the galaxy's many species for thousands of years. The council chamber was enormous. Representatives from hundreds of worlds sat in circular rows rising up toward a domed ceiling. At the center was a platform where speakers could address the assembly. Ambassador Lee stood on that platform, representing Earth and humanity. Behind him stood a delegation of humans, including Hana and the other cadets from the academy. "Honored council members," Ambassador Lee began, We come before you today with gratitude and hope. For generations, humanity lived in isolation on Earth, unaware that we were part of a larger galactic community. When we finally reached beyond our world and met other species, we were uncertain of our place among you. The chamber was silent, listening. You looked at our world and saw danger, the ambassador continued. You classified it as a place no one should go, and you were not wrong to be cautious. Earth has challenged humanity since we first walked upright. It has tested us with ice and fire, with predators and plagues, with countless trials. He paused, looking around at the assembled representatives. But Earth also gave us gifts. It taught us to be adaptable. It taught us to work together. It taught us that failure is not the end, but rather an opportunity to learn and try again. It taught us that there is beauty even in danger, and that life is worth fighting for. Holographic images of Earth appeared around the chamber. Stunning views of mountains, oceans, forests, cities. The representatives looked at these images with new understanding. We do not ask you to see Earth as we do, Ambassador Lee said. We only ask that you see us as we are, not as strange survivors of an impossible world, but as people who have much to learn from you and perhaps something to teach as well. Admiral Venthar stood from her seat. The Council recognizes Earth and humanity as full members of the galactic community, she announced formally. Welcome, humans. Welcome home. The chamber erupted in applause. Representatives stood and clapped. Some made sounds of approval in their own languages. The human delegation bowed respectfully, overwhelmed by the moment. After the ceremony, there was a reception. Aliens and humans mixed, talking, sharing stories, and beginning to build relationships. Hana found herself surrounded by young aliens asking questions about Earth and the Academy. Is it true you eat poison plants for fun? One asked. Hana laughed. We eat spicy food, yes. It is not really poison, though it does cause a burning sensation. You should try Korean food sometime. Maybe something mild at first. Is it true humans hunted animals by chasing them until they collapsed? Another asked. Our ancestors did, yes, Hana confirmed. We are very good at long-distance running. Our bodies are built for endurance. More questions came. Hana answered them all patiently, enjoying the curiosity and interest. Across the room, Jiwoo was talking with Crix, the Velusian who had fainted during the original demonstration. They had become friends since then. I still cannot believe you live on E.